Okay, this is our second meeting, the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, for the purpose of reviewing department budgets. And tonight is Tuesday, January 28th, 2014. And first up, to present a couple of budgets, is Warren. Warren, would you? And first we're going to do Public Works, which is Department 1310. Okay.
There hasn't been a whole lot on this budget that's changed. But just to go over the lines that we may have questions on or where they differentiate from previous requests. The first two lines are basically contractual obligations, and there's reflects an increase there. Line 5700 was a decrease because of adjustments with the personnel. Then everything stays the same. Line 53610, rental equipment, that had a slight decrease based on all those services pretty much go out to bid. And then, you know, once we get those numbers, but I'm anticipating that the number's going to take a slight drop based on the information that we received last year, and hopefully with the distribution of materials for winter, we will have less and less catch basin cleaning to do on an annual basis. Is there any questions on this sheet?
Excuse.
Sure.
The equipment parts and vehicle parts, the increase there is related to the age of the trucks.
Those went up. Basically, those two lines for many, many years haven't had an increase, but we're finding out that when you go to purchase items like tires for the fleet, chains for the vehicles, any of those items can be quite costly. And when you're trying to replace tires within the fleet pretty much across the entire fleet, truck tire, you might be spending $500-600 for a tire. So when you add it all up, the line item, we consistently run deficient in that. We have to do line transfer requests, so I'm trying to reflect what more the actual cost would be for that.
They're going to eventually be on natural gas back there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But for now, it's still oil heat?
Correct, it should be,
Well,
but
how
that'll
about
be
for-
transferred to this.
I would say for next year, you
Yeah.
might have to adjust that.
Yeah,
This is, because that could be operational, part of it anyway, fairly soon, right?
absolutely, yeah.
How's it coming, by the way?
It's moving along,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, obviously weather is somewhat of a deterrent, and delivery of items that are needed back there are somewhat of a hindrance, but they're working as much as they can.
Okay, any other questions on Public Works? All right, now let's go to next tab, Waste Management, which is an overall 5.38% decrease, which is primarily, I'm assuming, tipping fees going down.
Well, those rates have not yet been established, and some of the items that have decreased is MSW is on the decrease, but recycling is on the increase. So we reflect with the hauls and the tonnage, and also with the what our disposal costs would be with that. So an anticipated decrease would be there. We do have to go out to bid for the hauling cost itself, and those will be established maybe before the budget's actually presented, and they might be adjusted further. But I'm not anticipating an increase in this associated with anything that's in the budget here.
We're hopeful to have a, we don't have the tip fee yet, and they're going through a process of identifying sort of that whole arrangement, so we probably won't have a tip fee for a little bit, but hopefully by the time the Board of Finance meets in March, we should have a better idea.
Okay.
Why do you think, Warren, that the actual tonnage of recyclables went down?
Well, we keep track, we get reports on that, periodically. Volumes that we see, we're moving containers out of there on a regular basis, so it doesn't look like there's an increase. They reflected from the actual tonnages, they're estimated tonnages, and when you get into actuarials, there could be a slight difference there. I don't know, we're still doing, from what appearance sake is, the same volume, if not more. And we're getting an increase in the recycling and a decrease in the MSW, so, I think next year we'll have a better representation. A lot of it was the switch over. Don't forget, electronics is now a separate entity. The paints that we're now collecting, there's a lot of things that are being disposed of differently. It's all part of recycling, but the previous numbers didn't reflect that, and now things are being isolated a little more. But we do have single stream collection, which, and that assists everybody. And I think those numbers might increase as time goes on.
Anything else on waste management?
Excuse me, I just have one question. I'm sorry if I missed it, but the regular wages for the other departments, this went up 1.74%, which is 3.82%.
There's a step increase in that line, right? That's why there's an employee with a step increase.
Okay.
So it's not just the cost of living, but there's 4 step increases. So until you reach the 4th step, there's just 2 increases.
And in terms of the overtime number, you indicate that's for when employees are on vacation or holidays. So are other town employees working there during that time?
Yes, the regular public works force takes, but the budgets are
Got
segregated.
it, right. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next is remediation. And how much longer are we gonna have this? What are we still testing? Which wells are we still testing?
We have very few wells left to be monitored, and until the environmentalists say that they're satisfied with the results. Results have been very, very low, but until they give us a consistent low reading over a period of years, they probably won't drop those minimum amount of wells from the testing.
This has gotta be 15 years?
Yeah.
Really? There's still
There's 2.
traces of
There's 2 wells right there. The one's closest to the leak here.
residential wells?
No, they're
No.
on town.
Wells that are,
Monitoring wells, or town property, right? The
okay.
monitoring
so
wells.
they're sampling groundwater.
So this isn't wells in the true sense. Where we're tracking
not
water out.
That's a monitoring
These are
well.
testing wells.
Right.
These wells were put in specifically to monitor
I got you.
groundwater.
Okay.
You could be testing these for years.
Possibly.
Could be, yeah.
And even though the results have been favorable, they're not completely void. So I guess if there's a certain amount of traceable elements, they're not going to give you a release.
They just want to make sure that it's not going
That's
higher
right.
again. Yeah. Understandable.
So if you estimated there were 7 wells this year, and the budget is 5,500, if we're only doing 3 for next year, shouldn't the
No,
budget?
those were, they dropped. There's 3 wells that are anticipated because we got releases, but they weren't off last year's budget. So they should be this year because they're only right here at the immediate locations around the site.
So
But
were we doing actually 7 this year or only 3
No, we're anticipating 3.
for this year?
That doesn't mean we'll get 3, but we're anticipating.
I see, okay.
Okay. I guess that's it, Mr. Connors.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Pool and Gym. Mr. Brad Parsons.
Good evening.
And that is tab 1515. Okay, why don't you update us on the pool?
Nothing going on.
Not too bad, yeah.
Everything's good. Showers are warm, people are happy,
The showers are the lockers working out?
lockers are working out good, we recarpeted the facility,
Okay.
looks nice. The only thing I'm asking for is a little tile work in Capitol, and that's pretty much it. Place looks good, no complaints. The rec commission likes it.
Nobody ever says that.
That's what they told me.
Just to be clear, given the recent discussions we've had, this is the pool at Beecher Road School.
Yes.
Beecher Road School.
There's an operating cost.
Yes, an operating
Right.
cost
Mhm.
for Beecher Road School.
Again, heating.
Yeah, I was gonna
oil.
mention that. This is the oil, there's a gas fee to it, but it's part of this project for Beecher School.
Okay.
So during that project, they'll be converting to gas, but not currently.
So there's an oil tank over there, right?
There's still an oil tank inside,
That works.
550 gallon tank
Oh,
with a golf cart sits inside.
okay.
2 pool boilers for hot
Wasn't there
water for
wasn't there a
showers.
tank over there once that leaked?
Yeah, we pulled it off the side of the building,
Yeah.
in ground, yes, that did leak.
We don't use that anymore?
It's all gone, been gone. I had it pulled years ago.
Brad, the tile work you mentioned, is that the tile work that the recreation saw right above the pool?
That's correct.
Okay, great.
That's the tower.
So there's,
I believe it's
capital-
8,200, I
This is
believe is the
capital,
price.
too.
Why don't you just tell us what it is, then?
Yep, there's $8,200 for tile replacement and repair. And is
That's
that
correct.
for that section that you mentioned?
It's a chestnut tile on the pool deck above your head that's probably 3 feet tall and 6 feet wide, that's separated from the actual pool wall. Not the pool itself, where the people would stand. As you walk in, it's right above your head. I had to take down most of it, it's separated from the concrete wall, it become unsafe. There was a possibility of pieces of it coming down on patrons' heads.
It's right where you walk in. Everybody would be underneath.
Everybody walks through that double door to enter the pool. That also includes areas in the men's shower room, around the shower towers, and all the ladies' showers, right where the drain is. It desperately needs grout. There's no more grout there. It's normally people stand, they're dripping with chlorine and water. You constantly have to clean that with chemicals to get the mold out, and that's where normally the grout will first fail. The rest of the facility is fine. There's a bunch of dings and bangs around the doors where the slider is, the gate tile has been banged off. It's been like that for years, and the commission says it's unsightly, and it's due to be repaired. It needs to be repaired.
There's also a $5,000 pool improvement. Just so we can reserve for repairs?
Reserve fund, in case of emergency, I lose a pool pump, or a filter, or a hot water storage tank for showers. The patrons over there don't like to wait too long for that pool to be repaired. They like immediate repairs. And those are costly items. If a filter were to fail, $5,000. I need new sand, is over $5,000. A pump is around $5,000. All those are items are what that reserve is for. Major, I'll say appliances that could fail, that I could easily get, but I would need the money immediately to get it, restore the pool so people can get back in. Swim teams, numerous swim teams use it.
Is there an existing fund now?
Yes,
Yes,
There is.
funded on a somewhat regular basis.
that fund's been there since
Since
I've been employed,
Okay.
20 years plus.
And do we know how much we've accumulated that hasn't been spent?
Is there a few $1,000 in there?
Yeah, I think there's a few $1,000s.
Okay.
I used it, I believe this year for the pool vacuum repair.
Okay.
That's a costly item to repair.
And of course, if you ran out of money, we'd have to look at the contingency.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on pool and gym expense? All right, then let's, building maintenance, 1370. For the first time in many years, Joe Adalizzi is not with us to go over this, but
He's here.
he's around,
Yeah, he's here.
keeping his eye on you.
Yeah.
Okay, an overall 6.45% decrease, primarily in part-time maintenance. What happened there?
Joe Adalizzi.
It's Joe.
Oh, it's Joe. We didn't replace Joe.
No. Joe.
There's nothing much here, that I can see.
Nothing much has really changed. A few dollars more in general professional services, but those services do go up. Slightly, 1% or 1.5% every year. For instance, we're gonna add carpeting replacement here in the front foyer. We have mats changed out throughout the buildings, the police department, the center building. These are getting kind of ragged, so we have to add that to the professional services. That would be one instance of an increase. They're pretty much the same, the rest of the figures. We've listed them on the right, most of our professional services. Van repairs, the van is getting old. $500 to $600, it's getting up there in years. Not a major increase of $100. Maintenance repair to building stayed the same. Cellular, postage, advertising, training's all the same. Office supplies, maintenance supplies, everything on down has remained the same across. No increase.
Any questions on building maintenance? All right.
If there's any questions on the country club, I might as well.
We might as well hang around for that.
Yeah, you may as well,
Just in
because
case.
that's where a lot of the information came from, and Brad was very helpful with that, so.
Okay, Parks. For that, Mr. Parsons, number 2.
Short hair.
Tab 1520. Short.
I'm old. We look like?
Just grow your hair a little longer.
The can that grows this way.
Okay. And I guess we also have to do capital on this, right?
Yeah, it's pretty easy, pretty short. Starting off, contractual agreements, as you've heard 1,000 times. All the way down to buyback sick days have gone up, their sick time. So we'll go right to rentals. That's an increase because the rental of the porta potties on the ball fields, I've already been advised it's gonna go up. So the portable restrooms around the baseball fields and the sports fields, I've already been warned it's gonna go up. So that's where you see that increase. And of course, the compressor that I rent to winterize irrigation systems have gone up. Small, but still going up.
Intro for a second?
Sure.
Just to be clear, the town has an arrangement, Tony, right, with the baseball league for reimbursement or partial reimbursement anyway toward the.
$1,500.
Yeah, usually they'll contribute towards clay.
Yeah.
Right, primarily, yeah.
Well, and now these additional expenses, right, because of the baseball tournament.
Exactly.
Right, and then the other half
So-
of it is usually for that.
Right, just
Right.
so there is some revenue to balance that.
Brad, just for the people watching, Adam. How many years have I been screwing this
Yes.
up?
Touche.
Just why don't you run through what you take care of? In other words, people hear parks. What parks?
Parks, sorry, we'll start off with West River Ball Fields. Center Field, the Woodbridge Athletic Fields, Acorn Ball Fields, the tennis courts, the town grounds, the walking trails, Pease, the Woodbridge Athletic Fields. That's it. That's it.
How's this fertilizer? I know we're buying all organic fertilizer.
pesticides.
Just pesticides?
Yeah, no pesticides.
Oh, no, yeah, organic, whatever.
Just kill everything.
We have an all
how's
pesticide.
how's that working
The
out?
fertilizer is
You're
working
just
great.
shaking him up. That's,
The fertilizer's working great. On the other hand, maybe the crabgrass is growing more, and we had a little problem with the insect damage. And other than that, there's a lot of weed whacking going on because I used to spray Roundup. So that's the increase in my the seasonal employee. Added another seasonal employee just to keep on weed whacking. I mean, 'cause that's every week. You just grab a weed whacker and fence to fence every field. It just grows. It's just phenomenal. I can't believe how much it grows. It's absolutely insane. But I've let areas grow wild, certain areas to help. And also my capital budget, I'm asking to put cement in the dugout. Because just to try to weed whack that is just, some of it's gravel, center field's gravel. So you try to weed whack that when there's stone there, it's like shrapnel. So I'd like to cement it. It'd be nice, especially after a rain or the day before, instead of having a mud pit where they're all putting their bags and, their clothes or whatever, they're on dry, cement. And a lot of fields have that. So I'd like to do that in my capital. But that's,
How do you combat insects with this game plan? Is there any way, or?
Yeah,
I saw you on a TV once, you put these,
microscopic,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't even see them.
yeah,
Well, it's like toothpaste.
yeah.
and you squeeze a little bit into 160 gallons of water, and you spray it out in a spray boom. It's a big, long spray boom. It's a tank with a spray boom. You spray it all across the field, and you hope that it rains. They get them into the ground, and if it doesn't, then you're in trouble. They die immediately, so they don't like light. That's why you do it on a rainy day, try to get it in the ground immediately. The first year I did it, worked great. Last year, the sun came out. Sun came out. And I knew because Acorn was my last field, and it was like, oh boy. So I let it go to see what it would do, and it didn't really work that great. So we had some turf damage. But hopefully next year we'll see, It's new. So it'll be the third season this coming year, and I hope it works. We'll see as the future goes on.
Okay.
So the next one down the line is telephone. I guess we're getting new phones. Let's see the increase there a little bit. The bottom of the page, the vehicle parts and supplies. The cost of tires is staggering, and the wear and tear on the trailers alone is just mind-boggling. I go through tires on trailers because I'm going from field to field to field to field to field. So that's a huge increase there. I have 4 tires just on one trailer. I have 3 trailers. And just one trailer, I can go through a set of tires from April till July or June, end of June, go through 4 immediately on one trailer. I don't know, it seems like weird. Look, the rubber's getting cheaper or whatever it is. It's terrible. That's where that increase comes in there. Next page is, that's it. Then operational capital, asking for a paint sprayer. The paint sprayer is $2,000. So I'm here, it'll be 14 years July I've been employed here, so that sprayer will be almost 14 years old. It's due. That's it for the budget. Other than that, the capital. Oh no, I got the stone dust. Did you see that?
Yeah.
We started digging out the warning track up at Acorn, and winter came, and I still haven't finished, and I underestimated the time and the amount of material I needed, so I can only do one warning track. I need extra money to do the other warning track. Because it's just like topsoil up there when they built the ball field. So I need to put down stone dust to have a warning track. So when the kid goes out for a fly ball, there's something that warns them so they don't run into the fence. And there's the dugouts for the ball fields that do it at center field, $4,000. Give it a try, see how it works out. I think it's going to work great. The third one on the line is the new truck that we received last year already. There's no radio. I need a radio in it. Doesn't make any sense not to have a radio in it. I can't get a hold of anybody. Doesn't make sense for me to drive all the way to Acorn just to find somebody. You know what I mean? So let's go to capital. The tennis courts were painted late last year, 2013, late in the season. I think they came out great. Came under budget, which is great. We didn't have to put down a sealer or anything of the sort, so we saved a lot of money there. And just to let you know, I'm going to be pruning a few trees down there by the court 1 and 2. The overhanging trees on the south end of the tennis courts create shade, and that's not good for the court. Small trees, they're nothing major. So I'll be doing that probably Thursday. If you see me down there, that's what I'm doing. Next capital, a small mower. I need a small mower to get in, if you read the purpose and the objective, to get in the batting cages, to cut around the walking trails, to do around the tennis courts, the fire department. I need a small mower to get around. And this is just we call it zero radius SCAG mower, state contract mower that I'm asking for. And a lot of this work I do by hand. I don't do it, my workers do it. And it's just wasted time. And I need time. And that would save us a lot of time, huge amount of time. The grooming machine, baseball field grooming machine. That machine makes me shine, makes the town shine. It's getting old, so in 2018, we should be thinking about replacing it. And the last on the parks is the trailer, our third trailer. This trailer that I inherited has been here forever. From my understanding, it's done. I need a new trailer. I need 3 trailers. One is for the growing machine and a mower, and then I have another guy just mows, and I need a third one to save. If I'm spraying painted lines, I got to go out and spray. I got to have a third trailer, and this third trailer is done. So we're going to try to squeeze it by, and hopefully to the time you guys allow me to buy it, I hope. The worst thing about it, I had to buy 2 tires for it today. So, and that's it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good sign.
Thanks.
Great job.
Good night.
Jim, I'm assuming John Adamowicz is coming?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're not till 7 o'clock, but we can maybe move on
Do
to
the
some.
country club so Brad can.
Oh, all right, let's do the country club. 1192. Yeah, Brad. Or Adam, who are you? Brad, Adam.
That is Brad.
If I say Mr. Parsons, I can't miss, right?
Next time you have to wear a hat that has your name.
No. Karen gave me the clue. I just slipped up. I could never remember, but I can remember now because Karen gave me like this clue. So
And you're not going to share the clue?
I'll share it. Brad is blonde. BB. That's how I remember.
Okay.
All right?
I have long hair. In the wintertime, it's very handy
I
because
think
I
of
have
Brad,
to be
I think of
outside
B,
a
and I
lot
think of
more
blonde. That's why I told him
than he is.
I thought we were leaving.
I got
So the first line, just so I want to say, the first line is the contractual obligation to Billy Casper. And this includes the operating costs for the building, does not include any information about the pool. So this is just operating costs for the building itself, just so everyone's clear on what this is. So, other than the golf course expense, which is the contribution to Billy Casper, the rest of these items were put together with Brad and help from the prior year. And it's, you're self-explanatory really, but Brad, maybe you can just highlight some of the regular repair and maintenance type things that you have to do on a regular basis.
So average things that you have to do in all buildings, the fire extinguishers have to be certified once a year, tagged out. Make sure that in case of a fire, if somebody grabs an extinguisher, you can use it, it's full. That's one item. We have the sprinklers inspected, just like we do here in this building. Once a year, somewhere around Christmas, a contract will come in, test the sprinkler systems, wet and dry, certify that they're safe and operational, and tag them out as good. Some other items we have to do in the building there, we have to make sure that all the HVAC systems are operational, which maintenance takes care of. We have a security system in there, burglar alarm for the main clubhouse that's currently active. We have a fire system in there. We have smoke detectors, heat detectors throughout the building. In case there's a fire, the fire alarm will go off. We have services that monitor both of those systems, burglar and fire. And that's pretty much it. The upstairs kitchen isn't used, so there's no hood inspections. I guess the downstairs kitchen is still up for discussion. but if that's needed, that can be inspected and cleaned and certified. They came out like a fire extinguisher inspection and certify that. We have the boiler, one big boiler over there, which is ancient, which is still operational. We can't find anything currently wrong with it. It's scheduled, matter of fact, for this winter to be serviced, cleaned, and tuned. We have to put oil in the tank, obviously, to heat the building, to keep it above freezing. There's a automatic HVA system in there that constantly looks at all the air handlers 24/7, air conditioning and heating. If the boiler were to fail, if the temperature in the building were to get too cold, too hot, it will automatically page somebody, which happens to be me, to let me know that there's a problem in that building and I need to go over and check it. If the sprinkler alarm trips, it will also page me. It's a nice system. Normally, we don't have any problems with it. Once in a while, we have a software problem, but lately it's been rare. For the last couple of years, it's been running fine. In the beginning of the winter season, we had a problem with a thermostat on the wall that maintenance was unfamiliar with, which required them, the people that designed the system, to come out to look at a sensor. It was repaired, back online, lets me know if a pump fails, lets you know if anything fails in the building when it's related to HVAC. And that's pretty much it. It's basic stuff. There's no bells and whistles, no thrills, minimum. Not a lot.
There's no real maintenance to the building itself.
Not-
It's
not
really to the
much.
system.
Unless a door handle broke or a lock, there's really not a lot of maintenance. Parts. You know, if we can repair the boiler as opposed to calling a contractor, it's cheaper for maintenance to do it, and we've done that. We put in a circulator yesterday for the heating system ourselves. We just buy the part and put it in. So that's what the $2,500 would be, parts like that. Similar, $2,700 I should say, or 25, excuse me.
I have a question, Brian. With respect to many of these costs, are they costs that we would incur regardless of whether or not we're using the building?
Yes. Life safety we have to maintain. Burglar and fire we have to maintain. Some security lighting. I've cut down on the lighting on the perimeter of the building and the interior of the building, just so if we get a call in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., I have to walk up those stairs. At least there's one light lit at the top of the stairs. Or in the back door, there's a few lights lit in case there's a burglar call. The police will call me and say, we need your keys, come over. I don't want to go to the back door without a light on. Like I said, heat and security and life safety. That's pretty much it. It's bare bones.
Any other questions on this?
Brad, this is inclusive of the basic regular maintenance that is needed, but not any of the possible concerns with maintenance repairs that were looked at recently last week in the turf. Okay, so none of, this is just the basic,
Yep.
keep it maintained, keep it running, keep it open, keep it
That's
easy.
correct.
Great.
Anything else? Okay.
Thanks,
Everybody have a
Brad.
nice night. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Take care.
Oh, really? Recreation, are you guys ready?
How can you be wearing shorts?
He wore those for me. He wore those for me. 'cause he knew-
Exactly what I wore. Actually, I wore them all day.
Karen, do me a favor. You know this drape we have in the front here? Would you get it for that table too?
That's fine.
I'm gonna be distracted.
Look, if you guys want to talk about this outside, let us know. I mean, you know.
It's amazing. He walks into church and you see people leaning over to see if he's got shorts on or not.
He was not wearing a kilt.
Okay, John, Department 1510. You want to just give us some highlights?
Sure, a highlight something like this is that, first of all, on the first page of major issues, one of the things is we were talking about yesterday at the Recreation Commission meeting is that cleaning of the playground equipment and yearly maintenance check on that, that's an important thing that should be added into the major issues that we should be having done every year. That should be put into the Park Rec Department, Parks Department thing. Thomas Voller, he's a professional insurance adjuster for playground equipment and like this. I went to one of his seminars, I was there like this, and he said the first thing he does is when he comes to a town or like this and checks equipment after there's an injury or something like that, is the first thing he goes to the town and asks them, what's your maintenance? What do you have maintenance? Let me see your maintenance records of what you do, how you check your equipment, what do you do, clean them, what do you do like that. So I think that's an important issue that we should add into it, into the program that wasn't there. The second thing is on the next page of major objectives, we go down under that and it says development of an outdoor skateboarding park. That should have been the development of an outdoor portable basketball park, using like the skating rink that we have, and that's putting portable baskets on it, so that in the summertime we have an area so kids can just come around and shoot around. Nothing major, nothing, all that, but that's no skate park. That should not be a skate park. That should be portable basketball park on that. Then when we head to the budget, okay, the first thing on the budget is the ask for a 2.25% increase. That would be $11,800 for our department for the year. I came in at $17,900 because of one issue that was added to it. Actually, our budget only went up $10,700, less than 2.25%. But I added $7,200 for a security person. Dr. Stella came to me and said that we needed a third security person. We currently open recreation at 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 to 8:30. We open midday for 3 hours, and we're 3 to 6 till the school children are out of school. So we have to have a security person. I only have 2 positions. I had a noontime position, midday position, 10 to 1, and I had a position from 3 to 6. I did not have a 5:30 to 8:30, and he felt that it was important that we have someone there because people could enter the building at 5:30 in the morning, go in, hide in the building, hide in there. So now we have a security person that lets everybody in. So we have 3 security people. This year we'll cover it, wasn't in our budget, but we'll cover it through the snow days, early dismissals, and when they leave early at the end of the day. We have no night programs. School will finish, they leave early, and then have I forgot what you call it, come in late, when you come delayed opening. So we should cover, it's about $7,200. With all those closings and everything like this, it's about $5,000 or so that we'll save to cover that position. And during the year, with different positions, we don't have enough kids in the program. So instead of having 6 workers, 6 sports leaders, we have 4 or 5 leaders. We switch down and we cut back like this. We just have enough leaders to cover, to keep our ratio of 1 to 3. So in that case, that's what we have. The only other thing I asked for was in professional development was $1,000. I asked in professional development, and that was to go to these programs. The program that I went to see Tom Bower talk about the safety issue was at a conference, a CAFERD conference, Connecticut Association of Health, Physical Education and Recreation, which I go to. He was there. I went to his program. He does national programs. This is for an Eastern program. These programs are held at different conferences. Other than that, our budget is the same. There's no change in our budget or added to our budget. So the main cost is the $7,200 for the third security person, which we have on duty right now, and we're covering it through attrition to our program. And then the rest is just what it costs for cost of living is the 2.5% increase in salaries, and that's what we have.
Okay, any questions for John? Of course, John has also attached revenue projections, so as you can see, roughly almost 50% is covered by revenue. So,
and also this year, it's funny. People in the town of Woodbridge, I hate to say it, but they sign up last minute. A lot of programs. Jim and I have come to the conclusion that we don't cancel any more programs anymore. What we do is we put the program back 1 week, and then we see how many we had. In one program we needed 7. We had 3. We did everything. That day that we opened up our program, we had 9.
Yeah, 7 came in just that day.
Just that day, walked in, and we're like, oh, okay.
Good thing we didn't cancel.
Yeah. And we're always worried. We're always worried about coming close to, or with the economy the way it is and everything, is coming close to the number of students that we have. And last year we had 233 students. We're at 185, coming up to the first day of opening of our programs. and by the end of the week, we were at 259. So we've increased our programs, we've increased a lot of programs. Jim has done a great job of getting little programs in. We had a program the other day which I thought was fantastic, Legos, and they built a suspension bridge from one table to the other that actually worked. We taped it down like this, they put a truck on it and went across. My truck didn't make it, but.
If I can make one comment, one of the reasons I feel that you have such a late enrollment is because Recreation still doesn't have the ability to accept online payments, a credit card payment or PayPal payment. So many people show up at the last minute and they bring their check and they pay. If they had the ability to accept a credit card payment or PayPal online, like most people do, most recreations do, many of those people would, when they go and they see the program, just do it and get it done with. So I think that would certainly alleviate and give you a better feel for how many people you are going to get in each program and maybe help you to plan it a little better.
And that program's in our 6-year capital budget.
They've been looking to get a budget, I guess, to
And
include.
we hooked up with the software that we have for RecTrack.
And can I just ask you, Jim, are you basically prepared if there was money in the budget for that? That's a system you're ready to go on and add the credit card payments?
Yeah, I've just contacted Vermont Systems, who does the RecTrack and WebTrack, and yeah.
I certainly think it would help you get people earlier and probably get more people because you sign up, you're in, I'm going. Whereas
is the
you wait
fee?
to the last minute, you may decide your shot's not.
What is the fee they charge?
Oh, but the upgrade from what?
Now, what percentage, do they charge you any percentage fee for handling the transaction?
That I'd have to look into with more detail.
Because-
I just got an estimate of what the WebTrack edition.
It could run 2.5%, 3%,
Mhm.
depending on who does it. So that would be something we would need to know. Because they don't do it for free. It's a percentage
No,
of
they don't, but
transaction.
typically.
It's still worth it.
Typically, I think you gain somewhere like 12% on your numbers because you offer it and people can sign up. Otherwise, they wait till the last second, then they just decide not to do it, they do something else. But also, I think PayPal makes arrangements with municipalities and that type of thing, and they run a very small fee. So I'm not sure about the regular
Right.
credit card charges, but I know PayPal does it with municipalities.
And even if we went up to the 1 or 2%, whatever it would be like this, we've held our fees because of the economy and the way things are going, and just did it through, made our money through getting more kids into a program. And we've held our fees for 5 years. We have not gone up on our fees like this. And so it's about time, I think we should start looking at our fees a little bit. But if we had to, a 2% increase would be nothing because we've held for 5 years.
Do you currently accept only checks or cash? Right, don't take credit cards?
No credit cards. We don't have-
So there's
we
no way
don't
to
have
sign
the
up
ability to.
early. You have to physically go into the office and hand them a check or that type of thing.
And we never turn anybody away. If people call on the phone and say they're coming in like this, we sign them up for the program, and then they come in and pay afterwards. And we got like a 99% fee collection on what we do. We have no problem with that. We're not going to let any kid miss just because of that.
Okay. Any other questions for John? Jim? No? John and Jim?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I wore these shorts for you for that little bit.
Okay, next is economic development, 1620. We're early, you guys, you ready?
Yeah, one of our members was gonna come.
So this is new this year.
So new budget,
Yes.
yes.
This is a new budget item. In the past, I think we've had some of these things which really just come out of your budget. Our breakfasts have always just been funded through the selectmen's office.
Why don't you, because you're new, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Jody Lant. I'm chair of the Economic Development Commission, and this is Ellen Eisenberg, who is one of our newer commission members. First, I want to say why I feel that it's so important that the town funds economic development. I happen to have a degree in economics, and when you think about how a municipality makes money, what the revenue streams are, of course, the biggest revenue stream are taxes. As we all know, we don't want to raise the mill rate. So how does a town go about increasing their revenue without raising the mill rate? Well, they have to hopefully increase the value of their property. I've been on the Economic Development Commission for many, many years, and the town really has not, in the past, made an effort to increase the value of the property and increase the value of the business district. And in looking at our application for money tonight, I'm hoping that you view this as an investment in the future. We hope that by the things that we've undertaken, in particular right now the website, which we'd like to expand, and we're asking for money for maintenance and for publicity, we'd like the business district to become much, much more viable and vital, and so that people will want to shop there and eat there and try all the services, and thereby more stores will want to locate there, and then the value of the real estate will go up, and then we will be able to get more taxes because the appraisals will come in higher without raising the mill rate. And so all of the things that we have put in our budget really are to that goal. We want to create a business environment, a cohesive business environment, and so in the past we've had 1 or 2 breakfasts a year or outreach events, sometimes later in the afternoon, so that we can speak with the businesses and communicate with them and see what their needs are, so that because we really represent the town to the business community. We've met with property owners on certain things. Property owners come to me, realtors come to us, asking if we know of people who want to lease their space. So keeping that the communication channel open is really important for us to make sure that we can help the town maximize the economic benefit of those parcels.
I thought it would be a good time to mention also, you did a preview of the website for the Board of Selectmen. I'm not sure the Board of Finance saw that, but the Board of Selectmen did. And subsequently, the breakfast was held, and I think it's an opportune moment to brag a little bit about yourselves and how successful it was, and how the spirit, I attended, and the spirit was just incredibly positive, and Tony was there as well. And I think you mentioned, Jody, that was in contrast to some of the earlier breakfasts. So I think that's a real tribute to the progress you've made and to the website and the presentations. Maybe you want to just talk about that a bit.
Since I've taken over as chairman, I've made it my mission to really engage the business community and to listen to them. And we have been working for actually quite some time now on a website, funded through the town's budget as opposed to our budget. And we worked, and Ellen was on the subcommittee, and worked really, really hard, mostly volunteer, to make sure there are business listings, to make sure there's a map. And unfortunately, I didn't realize, I see so many familiar faces, I thought most of you had seen it. I will send the email address to Jerry to circulate with you, so you all can see what we've done.
I think people can get, if you just go to the town website, there's a business tab now, which Karen set up for us, and I think people can get there very easily, which is great too.
So in any event, we launched the website last week to the business community, and we had an amazing. I thought we had a great turnout. We had around 30 people there. Senator Schlossberg and Senator Crisco came. Representative Clarities could not come because she was ill. The business community was so supportive of the website. Sorry, that's mine. They want to be able to reach. They want to be able to engage. It's in their best interest for them to act as a unit. Afterwards, I was talking with actually a new business that's coming into town, the Woodbridge Social, about how, and we're talking about the possibility of running a restaurant week. We've talked about sidewalk sales, but all of that needs a specific location, a website to go to, so people can receive communications and get communications, and give us communication. And so we spoke about all of this. We are about to launch an ambassador program, which we're going to come to the Board of Selectmen with. We've sort of quietly launched it at this point, where each of us are going to take a certain number of businesses that we know or that we're soon to meet, and reach out to them and speak a bit to them about their needs, and know that there's someone within the makeup of the town that is willing to listen to their concerns and to try to work with them to improve their business climate. And Ellen actually can speak to that a little bit, because Ellen actually is the owner of the Red Barn in her other life, and so you can, perhaps you want to just. No?
Do you want me to? No, I do.
Yeah, sure.
I always want to talk.
Okay.
Wasn't sure what you wanted me to. I did want to just say, in terms of the website itself, that one of the, as Ellen mentioned, in the past, I was sitting on the other side of the fence looking in, and the website was a very long time in development, and didn't really come together until the current group of people got together and actually launched it. So I think that in general, the town felt that, the businesses in the town felt that it wasn't really a happening thing. And now it looks really professional, I think. I mean, it's still a work in progress, but the businesses also understood from the meeting that they can actually give us information that we can now quickly put on, and they can actually get promotion out of it. And we can link any kind of publicity that they get, any kind of video that they get. If they have news releases on them or whatever, it can all be part of this website, and it is good promotion. So, you know, it was really positive. There was positive feedback, and it was also a different group of people that ordinarily come. I'm not sure why that was. There have been a lot of businesses that were new there, and not a lot of the old businesses for some reason. So.
So are you charging businesses a link fee?
No.
No.
No, absolutely.
Well, that's important
not.
to know.
No,
Yeah.
not at this point. I mean, if you look at Professor Plattis's plan, the concept plan.
I've looked at it, but it's been a while.
He actually encouraged us to start Yale encouraged us to start the website. They also encouraged us to eventually get to the point where we have some sort of business improvement district, which would then have some sort of charge fee payment along with it. And the thought is that would eventually support the website. But right now I think that we're not anywhere near there. The businesses are not cohesive enough as a group. They don't even view themselves as a group.
No, but it's very common on a website. If you're
Well, I think
participating in a link, then you pay a link fee. I mean, I was just curious if that had been discussed.
Advertising, maybe, you know, if businesses want to advertise on a site, that's one thing that we can look at doing, and you would pay for that. Just as a business owner, I would want to see a really successful site before I would pay for a link. I expect a link. I mean, just as a business owner, I'm linked on 50 or 60 websites that I carry their product. They link me, you know, and I think that that's kind of a courtesy of the town. I mean, that's just how I feel, that it would be something that the businesses would absolutely expect to have. But we could possibly get money in other ways from them. At an actual ad, I would think.
Which we've discussed in concept. What if a store wants to run a promotion? What if a realtor, which I think is more likely, wants to run a banner? And we're not there yet. We're open to it. Right now I think we're still at the launch phase, which is why we're asking you, the Board of Finance, to invest in this right now. We're open. We understand, as I said, I understand the need for the town to generate revenue. And if eventually the website can become self-sustaining, that would. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I also want to add just something to that, going back to property values and all of that. I think you would want the site to show everything that the town has to offer as best as it can in terms of businesses. And if somebody had to pay a fee, they probably would think twice about linking.
I would like to make a comment. I have been working and visiting with the economic development, and they are working very hard, and some of these programs are really showing great success. One of the components of this website right now, it's a website that is part of the town website, whereas a lot of towns have, their economic development has their own website. So they are confined a little on some of the things they can do, but one of the things they are trying to do as one of the components is to show off the town. So it's not only to help the current businesses, but to promote economic development for the town. Properties that are available, why would you come to Woodbridge, what are the assets of Woodbridge, the education, the police department, so on and so forth. So they are selling the town as well. They're trying to keep a section which is promoting the town for economic development, that's for hopefully future businesses. They're also reaching out to businesses that are home businesses to say you can be part of this, but also as home businesses grow. I was fortunate enough to be at an event with Jody. We went to a seminar, and one of the amazing things they said was 80% of businesses that start in your town come from within your town. They're already here. Either they're small businesses and they're increasing in size, or they're home businesses and they take a storefront or an office. So it's something that they have looked at and is part of the website. So I in case those of you who haven't seen the website, it's not just a component for the businesses that are here and trying to promote them and help them. That's a great part of it. But it's also trying to promote the town and why it's worth coming. to Woodbridge to either, bring you a second business or a second storefront, or to increase the size of your business that's here. So I compliment you on what you've done.
Yes, absolutely. I second everything Tony just said, and he's been very supportive of us and helpful when he comes to visit with us at our EDC meetings. It's important that we keep refreshing the website, which is why we have the money in the budget. We can't let the website get stale. We need to drive traffic to the website. We need to figure out a way to communicate, to promote it. And if it keeps having the same information on it, then people won't want to revisit it. So fortunately, we're viewing the website as a portal to a certain extent. We don't really have to make that much original content because we have so many, we're fortunate we have a number of local papers that cover Woodbridge. We can simply create the link to their article, we have links to the programs that the state's running, and other things like that. But we still still takes a person to do that. None of us have the capacity, we all put a lot of time in volunteering to organize all of this and to make sure it happens, but none of us have the skill set or really the time to see that happen. That really needs to be a clerical position or an administrative position. It's a little bit more than clerical within the town.
So is this to pay then a webmaster and then someone who would collect content and put on the website?
Well, the content, the way I view the content is we the EDC will decide what the content is monthly.
Okay.
But we need to be able to pass that off to someone to actually post it. And we will, as this gets going a little bit more, each of us comes in with a number of articles that we've read or things that we think needs to go, and we're probably going to end up discussing it and picking 3 each month to post. But then, so that part is all volunteer. And then, to actually the administration of figuring out how to get it on the website is someone paid.
Did you pay somebody to design the website?
Tony would probably know more about this because Tony was involved in the financing, but we had interviewed a number of independent contractors, and then the town at the same time were doing that. And when Ed was really actually actively involved with this, the town at the same time began interviewing companies to redo the town website. So I think you want to probably continue from here.
By having the EDC website as part of the town website, there's no extra charge for maintenance or software updates or software upgrades because it's part of the town site. So there's no regular maintenance costs for this site. So as the design came together, the upgrades that you mentioned would just be if there's any programming time or any sort of upgrades to the actual site itself, whether you want extra features or I'm guessing that's what a lot of that'll be for, right? If you want extra.
Historically, QSEN provided it as part of the package.
Part of the package, and then the EDC itself would help with the sort of what they were looking for out of the site.
I just want to emphasize what people have said, that this is part of the town website.
Right.
So to the extent we can include it in what we're doing generally on the town website, we can actually incorporate some good ideas from the EDC sections, the other parts, and work to improve the website altogether. And then, as Jody mentioned, EDC will be collecting articles, but sending it to us because we will have an internal webmaster who checks everything that goes out on our website, including what would come from EDC,
Right.
assuming it's correct. But at this point, it is the town website. It's a section of the town website. It could change over time, but that's what we have now.
Right. One of the things we would like to do, and one of the things that actually was recommended by some of the businesses, we came up with a logo. Shop Woodbridge, Dine Woodbridge, Try Woodbridge, I think. And we would like to have some sort of catchy web address which incorporates that so that people will know to go there. Right now, the web address is somewhat cumbersome. It's not catchy at all. It's Woodbridge EDC/business. I mean, once you get to the slashes, then you lose half the people, I think. So we would like to, it's about $150 to pay for that. And we would really like to, that was, I think, the one takeaway I had from our meeting, that the businesses would like that. Eventually, we can come back, we'll talk with the first selectman if we think it's time to stand alone off the town website. Right now, we're simply asking for the money to bring the website to the point. We have But we went into the launch breakfast with about 40 web addresses out of the 300 to 500 businesses that we have in town. That's not nearly enough, and all of that information has to be inputted. So it really does become somewhat clerical. We're prepared as volunteers to go out through the ambassador program to the different members of the business community to ask for them information, and hopefully they'll send it to the town hall, but then someone really just needs to upload it. So that it becomes viable, because again, the more people that go on it, the more people will want to use it, the more people see it. It should feed upon itself and become hopefully a little bit viral, which is in this world what you want.
I think, Jody, what you're saying is, well, I think what's obvious is most of that work is going to be needed hopefully in the first year. Right now, you're out compiling all this data from businesses who are not part of it. Yeah, I think there's 300 to 500 businesses actually in Woodbridge, 300 in the database, maybe an additional few hundred home businesses that are not. So I'm assuming once, I think, what do you have, 40, maybe 40, 50 of businesses input, that's data is already been gathered. But obviously over the next few months, hopefully there's going to be when most of these businesses, they're out gathering data with their ambassador program going door to door to the businesses. So I'm assuming that most of this part of the budget would hopefully be a 1 or 2 time thing where you're out gathering once it's maybe self-contained a little, where it's just a matter of inputting a few pieces of data here and there. It might be something that you look at going off on your own for a website or something, but I could see all the hours that are needed right now for the data input, because there's so many businesses yet to have entered their data just to be part, and you know.
Right, it gets down to the investment issue. I think this is an investment in growing the business community within Woodbridge, and this is, the year 2014, and this is how do you grow a business community? We'll have a virtual business community, and hopefully the sidewalks for the steep grants will come in, and things will connect a little bit more. But we need people to be able to visualize what Woodbridge is, and where the businesses are. And right now we don't have that. So if you don't, think about it. You drive down Amity Road. You don't know what businesses are there. I drive down there all the time. And I'm chairman of the EDC. I know some of the businesses, but we were at the breakfast, and this woman came up to me, and she runs a video production company that's been there for 20 years in one of the offices on Amity Road. I had no idea we had a video production company. I mean, these are things that I would like to know, because we are going to try to encourage our Woodbridge residents to use Woodbridge businesses. But until we're able to communicate what those businesses are, we can't even do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your.
Okay, next is the Conservation Commission. I believe that's Jason. That's tab 1610. How are you?
Hi, Jason.
I'm a little new to the process here, so please bear
Just,
with me.
you've got some significant increases over, just give us an idea of the, well, there's only 5 line items in your budget.
Sure.
But what are the reasons for the increases?
Absolutely. So, as you can see at the bottom line, it is a substantial increase over what it has been the prior years. But percentage-wise in the town budget, it's a drop in the bucket. We've asked for an increase for the general professional services so that we can continue the evaluation of the open space and inventory what we have in town, but also branch out and enhance the town's website, much like what the Economic Development Commission was just talking about, was taking what the town website already has, except enhancing, in this case, the Conservation Commission's part of the website. Right now, there is a dearth of information for conservation out there. There's a listing of the trails on the website, but we would like to enhance that and make the public more aware of what conservation does. Ultimately leading up to, hopefully, an informational brochure. The town of Orange has produced a fantastic, it folds out to a map of the town with trails and highlights of the town on the overall map, a nice legend. It's a fantastic piece of work. And it would be great if Woodbridge could do something very similar. So that was also in the general professional services, particularly in the graphic design area. Printing and binding was an increase. primarily focused on the anticipated cost for printing of a brochure. We do believe that that number is actually low, and the commission has considered teaming up with other organizations to help fund a larger printing, which we think would cost certainly more than the $600 that we have here. Professional development and dues. I pushed hard to get everybody to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, to learn more, because a lot of us are new on the Conservation Commission this year. And I attended in November the CACIWC, it's the Connecticut Association of Conservation and Inland Wetlands Commissions annual meeting. Fantastic all-day event, and I wish all of the members could have attended. And I'm encouraging them to do so in 2014. And there's a cost to that, as well as other seminars that pop up across the year. I hope that members are inspired and have the time to participate in such seminars. So I'd like us to have an increase in that to be able to attend. Programs and publicity. This year we will also have our annual walk, but we're looking to expand perhaps 2 walks and maybe 2 other educational opportunities for the town to attend, whether it's on the water resources in town. We're talking about doing an invasive species seminar. So we'd like to expand the educational potential from conservation a bit. So that's reflected in the program and publicity line item. And we kept the office supplies flat. Envelopes, mailing fees, miscellaneous materials. A lot of what we do, I send out the minutes and the agendas through email, so we don't need to print them and mail them, so we didn't see any reason to increase the fees there. So that's just a general rundown of the budget line items. Kind of excited being new chair to the Conservation Commission. I have a lot to learn, and I love to learn new things, so I'm going at this with as much energy as I can. Are there any questions?
In terms of the inventory of open space,
Yes.
do we already have an inventory and it's just old and it needs to be updated? And can you explain what it involves
I would
to
love to
update
explain it very well.
Okay.
However, I'm becoming aware that there are multiple lists out there, and we're working with QPOP. They have a list. There was an inventory list from the original town plan in 2003 that we're working with, and the list seems to change every time we evaluate it. So what we'd like to do is come up with a very definitive list. Prior conservation members ranked some of the properties based upon that inventory list. But we would like to say, this is it, especially now that we're going to go through the process of updating the town plan. I think it's important to have a very clear inventory to once again put down in a document that will live for the next 10 years.
And so you need to pay someone outside to do that for you? Is that what this is for?
I think a lot of that will be internal discussions. I think the evaluation, we might consult with outside consultants to determine the impact if this property were to not be open space, or consider other avenues that we haven't yet considered as new members to conservation. Bring in some professional assistance to expand our knowledge on the aspects.
Jason, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
First one is to follow up on what Sandra was saying. One of the lists that is a possible resource for you, I understand, was the last Conservation Commission had a list put together, and early on you were having trouble actually getting your hands on that list. Has the new Conservation Commission been able to get that list?
We have not yet been able to obtain the prior list or the research done to develop that list.
Do that list, because it seems silly that the last one, a few members changed and suddenly we don't have that list.
Right. The lack of the information is slowing us down a bit.
So we will help you with that. But then my second question about the budget, I was thinking about what Matt said, the increase, and yet I'm actually seeing a 50% decrease. Can you tell me what the $8,000 in the 2013-14 was spent on for the general professional service? We went from $1,000 to $8,000. This year you're asking for $4,500, so that's actually a decrease. I'm just wondering what that $8,000 breaks down. I don't see a listing of where that came. What was spent to equal that $8,000?
Well, this was before my time, so
This year, it's for the survey of the historical houses that were owned by the Water Authority. That's the grant.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, that was.
I'm sorry.
I would have
5,000 or something,
It
or?
was half of it was grant funds, the other half was from town funds. It was
Okay.
what, about
So
8,000?
it's 8,000.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it was an
that's the majority
8,000
of it, yeah.
consulting, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of it.
Yeah, I do remember that. I didn't know that was part of this. Great.
So to pick up on what Tony said, I understand there were some maps and documents that are missing or in someone's possession.
Right.
Have we had any success in getting them back? Because we own them.
We have not. I've made a number of attempts. Another member of the Conservation Commission is now trying to reach out and get that information as well. I would like it to be an amicable agreement and get what we need. I'm hoping we don't have to involve town council.
I think that this
Weiner.
belongs to the commission. It was done by the commission. It just hasn't been able somehow to transpire into the new commission's hands. So.
Right, and to Jason's credit, he's been trying to work this out, as he said, in an amicable way, and let us know when he needs another level of intervention, so.
It's important we get that, because it belongs to the town, not the Conservation Commission.
And like I said, I think our job transitioning, being all new members, it would have been beneficial to have a whole array of write-ups on prior properties to understand more about our role, being new to the job. All right.
Okay, any other questions?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Welcome aboard, Jason.
Okay, next is Government Access TV at 11:35.
I'm sorry, man. I missed that number.
11:35.
Last November, by last November, I'd been here 10 years, starting out like the camel's nose in the tent, and we sort of worked our way in bit by bit. What can I tell you? We'd like more for general professional services because the commission feels very strongly that we should be covering more commissions. Currently, on a regular basis, we do Selectmen, Board of Finance, Woodbridge Board of Ed, the 3 land boards, town meetings, these budget meetings, which I find very educational myself. I come from Bethany. And things that we have covered irregularly, mostly because we can't find people to go and do it, is
Right.
Police Commission, Fire Commission.
Well, let me just
Recreation.
kind of summarize it like this, and good evening, everybody. How are we?
Country. We do country.
This, as Woodbridge is, and born and raised, love this town, that our town is very notably known to have flavors of the month. And the flavor of the month, sometime there could be more activity going on with the police department or the fire department. Right now, it tends to be Country Club of Woodbridge, most accurately named right now. Currently, there's a lot of activity going on.
That's
and
been
those
for several
meetings,
months.
Right, and those meetings need to be recorded, just like these are recorded, because as you can see behind me, there is more than seating room. There's plenty of room because people watch these at home and they're used to the accessibility of being able to obtain this information. And we have to keep providing it to our town because, to be honest with you, not too many people are going to come out in 14-degree weather to come to a meeting when they have children at home, when they can turn it on their TV or record it or do whatever else. So we need to keep providing this to our towns members if we want to have our towns members be informed and not come in here and say, that information wasn't provided. So this is why we have all these meetings coming up. That's why we don't have this set agenda of meetings, because if we set to that set agenda, our towns members and all of us would be missing out. It's the honest truth.
We still have the priorities,
We
though.
still have the priorities,
Which-
but we have the other ones, and we adjust our focus, need be based by the pulse of the town.
Point.
Mm-hmm.
We all know you, but for people at home who don't,
Oh.
maybe you both want to identify yourselves and your role.
I'm the chairman, Teresa Burr Bonner. Been born, I'm in Woodbridge my entire life, and that's Pua Ford.
I'm Pua Ford. I'm an import from Illinois and Indiana. And I come across the border every day from Bethany.
Yeah.
Like many of your town employees. What else can I tell you?
Well, you know, like anything else, equipment at the same time. We know with electronics, they don't age very gracefully. We don't have to say that. We all probably go through cell phones like they're water. Imagine how you use the video equipment. It's the same kind of standpoint, and we have these things running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at least servers and stuff. Our other equipment, cameras, so forth, we're pretty delicate on, gentle on them, so we're pretty good in that standing, but if anything else, we need to upgrade, like constantly.
If a tripod accidentally gets knocked
Yeah,
out.
it gets knocked out, but we need to keep moving forward with not only with our training of our employees, but the upgrading of our equipment. You know, I started on this commission when it was, oh my God, it wasn't even a commission. It was a group of, I think it was a committee. It was an ad hoc committee. It was, and they said, Teresa, can you, and I just left NYU, and I left NYU grad school, and they said, Teresa, will you, go on this committee? Because that's what I did at NYU. I TV and film production, and they said, sure. I've been on there since then. And we have made leaps and bounds. But at the same time, if anything, we need to progress forward. Ideally, I look at other places like Orange. They have the cameras on the ceiling. They have them set at one point so we're not jerking and have the zooming in and out. And then they have their other cameras that they use to go to other meeting locations, but that's their set location. Ideally, we would love to get to that point, but like anything, it takes time. We're not saying tomorrow, but that's our progression, is to eventually get there. So you guys are never going to really get away with, not making sure the hair is combed and everything else, but still, it needs to be done.
Making sure you can be heard.
Right, making sure you can be heard. That's another progression we
right
need
now.
to do this year, is work on the audio. We're all aware of it and conscious of it. It's, that's another thing I focused on in school. I did audio engineering. It's a very difficult beast to challenge, especially with the acoustics, dealing with certain rooms, windows, glass, it all factors in. But we need to move forward, and unfortunately, it costs money.
There have been funds available for grants. The best one that would have gotten us cameras on the ceiling has been swept for the next 2 years by the legislature. And I'm working with some people hoping that we can get a little bit of that back into the grant fund for the next fiscal year. But people don't notice it.
What would be the cost of that to install permanent cameras?
Some of the vendors talk about selling you a package of 3 cameras that run like $10,000, and that's before we install it. So it's on that order.
$10,000 for 3 cameras or a piece?
3 cameras
Everything.
and the board to control them.
Right.
Presumably the wiring, but not to install it yet. So
No, we're not saying,
I can look at what other people
We
have done.
can see that that's a huge amount, especially looking at our overall budget. I completely understand that and get that, but at the same time, I'm saying down the road a progression to eventually get to. I'm not saying tomorrow. The setup we have right now is beautiful, it's nice. Can we work on the sound? Absolutely. But we also at the same time need to maintain our current equipment, upgrade our equipment, and also train our people to keep moving forward on their skills.
Can we talk about internet and
Yes, let's
YouTube?
talk about internet and YouTube.
Yes.
What are you recommending with respect to sound?
Microphones. I mean, you guys have lovely microphones in front of you. Ideally, we would love to be able to hear everybody more clearly. In a room situation like this, you shouldn't be relying on mics there, and here. Okay, we should be able to hear every single person clearly. I mean, this room, we have brick, all these around soundings, it's not ideal for sound. I know we don't want to push the button all the time. It would be cumbersome in a meeting like this and the way we speak. But if that's not done, then we need to figure out some other kind of setup so everyone can hear us more clearly.
The proposal to get new wiring in and a new recorder, I think is supposed to be building on the system we have now, where you have microphones that feed the public address system, but also go to the recorder. And when I asked the man who does the current equipment, I asked if the signal could also be split so that we could get it here. He said it was unwise to split it again another way, that it was already pushing it. So what we do now is we have our own microphones going to our own equipment, but I can only support 4. I could get another soundboard and more microphones, but then that gets really busy unless I have another person over there turning microphones on and off or adjusting the volume, then we need another set of hands. So
There's also a lot
There may be other ways I don't know about.
There's
That's
also
why
a
I
lot
go
of-
to conferences.
Yeah, there's also a lot of cross interference when you do it like that, and also feeding off a machine, there'd be cross interference, things like that. You will even have cross interference going on here. To be honest with you, we need more of a streamlined setup for our audio. I mean, it's you know, you have the mics interfere with each other, and these mics are more sensitive than those. So it's like anything, you know, when you talk on the phone, if you're with your family talking on the train, and you know, they say, I can't hear you, I hear the train in the background, the car, whatever. It's just like that. Not only are we hearing the air system, you know, the background noise, but we're not hearing you guys, and that's what we need to hear.
So you're saying if these were all off, but we only turned it on when an individual spoke, the clarity would be much greater, but because they're all on all the time, the background noise composite.
Bingo.
Thank you. Just want to make sure. Can I ask you ladies 2 questions?
Sure.
Maybe because I'm living half my life in this room.
Yeah.
But I seem to see you more than it seems like in the past. Do you have the actual figures of hours that you recorded or were in the process of recording last year compared to what the previous year has been?
Yes, I believe that's in the general description.
Do you know what those numbers
If
are?
it's not in the general description, I think I put it into the annual report page for the town. See if I can follow. Do I have that one?
Has it been an increase?
It's been generally more or less 130 hours a year.
130 hours.
You know, sometimes the year of the Toll Brothers proposal, that it was more. It's not there.
Okay.
Really? Wow.
And the number of meetings recorded is very impressive, 125.
Another bit of good news is for those of us who got sick of Cablevision and always being blacked out of every channel that matters, and went to Uverse for the first year or so. I never thought about it when I switched, but I really, especially when I wake up at 2 in the morning, I really enjoy watching the town meetings. So recently, Paul let me know that we now get.
Yes, now you get
It seems like it's your feed, though. It's not theirs, is it? I mean, because
It is our feed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
our feed, and
Yeah.
we did, that was a very interesting conversation. Someone came down from Uverse, very nice gentleman there. And they said we give them basically the quote for the equipment, we provide them with the material, and it is our material. So now we are on Uverse too, which is a little bit of a extra work there. But yeah, now we're not, besides Cablevision, we're also Uverse, so providing 2 different outlets for, our community and for our towns members. So we're both places, so you're really not going to miss us. So that means that if we're in more places, more people are going to watch it, hopefully. And that brings us to internet, YouTube, downloading, uploading, all that good fun stuff, guys, because if it's available on TV, the question is that we all get asked, or at least I do on a regular basis, because
Me too.
I don't know if for some reason people know me around here, but is why isn't it on the internet? Well, it's not like you're uploading, when some people think about uploading a video, you're uploading a 2 or 3, 4 minute video from your phone or something. That's how some people think about it. It's a little bit cumbersome and it's time consuming, but to be completely honest with you, it needs to be done. And for certain meetings, it needs to be done, needs to be made available, because some people don't want to wait for it to get to the library, and it needs to be there, some important meetings, but.
It needs to be there, but I think it needs to be that, maybe this is something we
Yeah.
should talk to the commission. It should be on TV first,
Right.
TV and Uverse first, because that's what money we get that's not town money, it comes from being on cable TV.
Right.
So
Yeah, so
we
it's a
wanna
give and
hold on
take.
to that real
Yeah,
estate.
it needs to be done after the fact, but still, that's another, why, if you look at any increases, that could be another staple of why. We're very conservative in our budget, if you've seen in the past years, if anything. So, any questions, guys?
A quick question or comment. So regarding the audio in this room, I thought we did discuss improving it in the context of a different department budget.
It was a capital budget for the general admin.
Okay.
And that was part of their budget, and I believe you're working with Jerry on that project,
I
right?
worked with her on that, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to be part of that at this point in time, unless I find out more.
Thank you for your
Thank you very
efforts. I
much.
think we all enjoy the work, and it's it's a pleasure that I have it now. So. Never thought about it. Never thought about it when I did it, but it was too late. So it's great to have it again.
Come up, you know where to find me.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, next is emergency medical services, the budgeting and the capital, which is tab 1240.
I think it's mislabeled. It's a duplicate 1230, at least in mine.
Oh, is it? Okay.
12:30, yeah.
1230.
It's the second 1230, but it should be 1230.
Aha. It's 1230 number 2.
Making sure you're
Right?
paying attention.
Yes.
There's two 1230s.
And of course, this is our ambulance service, and it's pretty much contractual.
It is. Right.
It really doesn't.
The ambulance contract is up the end of this year, December. So I had to estimate the following 6 months, but so that's what that is.
Okay.
And are we thinking about bidding that out again? I mean, because they've had the contract. I mean, it is a multiple-year contract. But
Correct.
since it's up.
Right.
Is that something that should be considered? Because there are other ambulance companies.
Tony, when was the last time this was bid out?
The contract was maybe 4 years.
4 years.
But it was the contract, I'm not exactly sure, I think it was the contract before that, when it was originally brought on, that it was done.
And are they given anything more than a yearly rollover?
The last contract was flat for 4 years.
Flat for 4 years. That's why we did it.
That's why we did it.
So maybe it would be a good time to at least seek out the opportunity.
And I did have a question about the capital.
Sure.
They're asking for an automatic chest compression machine.
Right.
And the question that I have is, why would we purchase this? I mean, isn't this something, I mean, it goes on the ambulance, it's for the paramedic to use.
Right.
We're paying them to provide the ambulance and the paramedic. So why aren't they providing this piece of equipment?
It's a good question, which we could certainly look
because-
into.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure.
It wasn't part of their contract as equipment that, when they signed the contract. So if we're going out for bid and whatever, it should maybe put it in the specs that it should be included. So I guess they give a paramedic who does the hand compression, but not the machine, and that's what they're
I see.
talking about.
Oh, okay.
And they were saying how the police actually came to the last meeting. There was a representative of the police department who was very supportive of this. He was, maybe because it was somebody who had to do this, who wasn't trained as an EMS, who said, you try doing this by hand and hearing ribs crack, there's something about that you might lay off a little bit, where a machine wouldn't have that emotional response and provide. So they, like I said, the police department is the one who presented it because EMS couldn't be there, and they were very, very supportive of this. And
So maybe-
said our contract, because everybody said the same thing, but our contract did not state that they should buy
Right,
this.
but I would think that if they're a state-of-the-art ambulance company, which we're paying them to be, as the technology
Maybe another
changes, they need
service
to
offers
replace
it
It's
as
not
part.
cheap. It's not cheap. So the other question I have is, this vehicle isn't dedicated solely to Woodbridge. So are we going to say to them, if you go to New England, you can't use this machine. It's ours. Really, I mean, and so, they come to see me, and that truck happens to be somewhere else, and I get my chest cracked by somebody because they don't have it on this vehicle. So that seems like there's a lot more that needs to be asked about that.
Tony, is there what, because when I've gone to the EMS, I've heard repeatedly
It's dedicated.
that it's
But it doesn't necessarily, if there's a call, it can go to that call in West Haven.
I would hope they use the machine if it's on the truck,
Yeah.
whether or not that town has it.
Yeah, I'm only making a joke of that.
No, but you,
But that's why they should pay.
unfortunately, they may not make a joke about it. They
I
may
mean,
not
Their
really do.
investment to upgrade
if it's that much better, they should have one on every truck.
It's gonna end up being just part of contractual service
Right.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day, so,
True.
right, so it's
But-
not, I would think.
We would get passed on.
Yeah, but you don't have a 4-year contract that
No, I
doesn't have
understand,
the
no, I
ability
totally,
to
of
upgrade.
course,
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so all the more reason it may be a great time to seek out.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. If it's that great a thing where, why don't they have them? Like Sandy's saying, this is a
They're
state-of-the-art
expensive.
company. Well, that's,
They're expensive.
So's the ambulance ride.
They've been requesting this thing now, this has been going on.
This is like the third year.
So add $10 to the $1,300 they charge you if you get an ambulance call, and pay for it that way, because, it's not cheap to get an ambulance.
Well, it sounds like we don't have all the answers.
Yeah, right.
That's what it sounds
We
like.
need to talk to them.
We will.
Okay. Anything else? All right, next, animal control. I think it might be a good idea, Tony, if you just explain this whole
I
budget.
will. Yep.
The way it works,
I
who's
certainly
involved,
will.
I know we have revenue and,
It's a little different than the rest of the budgets, so I want to explain how this is set up. When this was set up, the Board of Selectmen set up a special fund for this service. So it's a separate fund, it's not part of the general fund. And as a result, the money rolls over from year to year and it does not lapse like the general fund. And I think one of the main objectives for that was because of donations that are given for this service, and because there are other 2 towns involved. That was the decision that was made at that time. So as a result, you will see 2 things. You will see a general budget, which is the complete expenditure budget, and that's this lines with all the details, and that's 221,937. Right. And then on the page after, there's the revenue. And essentially how the revenue works is it takes the 221,937 and you subtract out all of the items that are non-intergovernmental, fees, donations, etc., to get a intergovernmental contribution from the 3 towns. And that's what the 3 town amounts represent. And all 3 towns in this scenario are increased by the same percentage, which is 6.8%. And I can certainly go over some of the highlights if you'd like, or you can ask questions. You want me to go over some of the highlights?
Yeah, could you explain about what's happening with the employees in terms of the projected expenditures for fiscal year 14
Sure.
compared to the budget for 15?
Sure. So the budget for 15 is contractual for 2 employees. The budget for 14 was too low at the time the budget was created. So there's not really that big of an increase because there was the budget was not correct. So the contractual is for 2 employees and 15. 14 represents projected expenditures for employees where we have a situation where we have 1 employee who's on leave. So
I see.
we have
Okay.
extra expenditures as a result of that.
Okay.
And that's the reason for.
You're assuming
the
that's going
paid
to be
leave.
resolved by 14, 15?
Yes, that's the assumption in this budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that's resolved by the end of this fiscal year. So that's why there's such a difference there.
Okay, the same thing for overtime then?
Correct, same thing for
Same
overtime,
explanation.
exactly.
Okay.
The part-time, you'll see the part-time is there's an attached sheet which shows the kennel assistants.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
so you'll see there's, instead of having 1 position working 19 hours a week, the request from the department was 2 positions with working fewer, each one working fewer hours. Let's see. Let me go down these here. A lot of these are pretty stable,
Yes.
other than the payroll item.
Yes.
Of course, a lot of the problems or the expenses is because Orange bailed on the system.
That's right.
And, it was, I think it was
They went with
not a
Milford.
good thing that they did as far
They
as,
went
to
with
Milford.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard they're not necessarily 100% happy with Milford. So, has anybody ever reached out to see if maybe they'd be interested in, maybe the commission, somebody in the commission could? I've heard they're not thrilled to death with Milford, so I don't know if somebody could reach out.
I think the situation is that Milford now is under new management, let's say, was considering a change over to using the Stratford facility instead of their own, and that would obviously affect Orange because they're using the facility in Milford and Stratford gets to be further. And I think there was some discussion of what that might mean if they would look to do something different or have to do something different maybe if they moved over to Stratford. And I think Milford's still in the contemplation of
Yeah,
that.
there's definitely some, I heard there's some dissatisfaction with the service also.
We could certainly do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because I didn't bring my book with the. Was there any capital
In
budget?
this particular budget, there is not any capital. There is the capital budget, and we have been reaching out to our other two towns to see if there's some interest in helping with that, and I believe we've gotten some favorable responses, haven't we? Right?
So is that projected for 15 or
Let me look at that.
further on, like 16?
It's further on, I believe.
Okay.
It's totally green. It's like- Here we go. There's a roof and gutter repair out a few years, and that's pretty much it.
So nothing for
Nothing
this year.
major, nothing, no, and there hasn't been anything suggested. The only other thing I could think of is possibly one of the vehicles may come up next year. And we're, trying to review that and see how many years we can get out of them. But there may be a vehicle at some point in the future.
Tony, how are the contributions assessed for each town?
Basically, it was Woodbridge's and Bethany's share, and then Orange pulled out, and so we were able to get Derby to join, and that was essentially as a result of the negotiation. That's what they were willing to, to join for initially.
Okay, so it's not based on the number of residents
No,
or homes?
based on anything other than what we were able to negotiate.
Tony, we were gonna look at when these contracts expire.
Right.
We have to check with
So we have to see when they expire. We're sort of getting it up, because we had been handed this operation with,
Yeah.
it's sort of kind of chaos, so we had to put it together. So now we're looking to see when they expire and how we can better mix the contributions.
The police department is still involved in this operation?
No.
Out of it entirely?
Yep.
Oh.
They're out,
Okay,
yeah. So this is our first year of running
After
it.
moving the farm animals.
This is our first year of running it without the police, so we're still trying to figure out some of these items.
Okay.
And also, I would like to make note that we've had discussion at the Board of Selectmen and with the animal control officers themselves. There is room there for potential other town or additional town.
Right.
They feel there's room there, so that may be helpful to us to seek out.
And also, I'm sorry, Tony.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, we're using an animal control officer who's helping us out from Seymour,
Seymour,
who's
right.
their only animal control officer, or she may have an assistant. But, so that may be a nice fit or a likely opportunity.
I just wanted to add that since Tony has taken over operations and Kathy Picarella is doing day-to-day.
Correct, yeah.
Things are going very well. We've had only good reports.
Yeah.
And it's a very smooth operation right now. All towns are very pleased with the service.
We would expect no less.
Absolutely.
That's why I think, maybe reach out to Orange. I mean, they screwed up the Stu Leonard thing. They don't have a grocery store anymore,
You
Stop
wanna-
and Shop moved out across the
Matt,
street.
you want to invite them in, don't say they.
Yeah, right, I was
screwed up.
just gonna say.
They won't, no, he won't move. Jim is a tough
Come over
guy.
here and we'll badmouth you for a while.
Orange has always done crazy things. That's another example of it.
Let's move on.
We had a little issue with it. I have sour grapes on this.
We're just trying to be friendly neighbors.
And they all moved away from him on the Route W bench.
Then we had a problem with Dale on this, so not the way to operate. Well, it's BOW,
15.
Darling House, 1540. Let me get off that subject.
Yes.
The Darling House is operational costs related to just basically utilities for the Darling House itself. We are actually reimbursed this amount in our revenue by the Amity and Woodbridge Historical Society. So it's actually just a pass-through. So if
Well, they have some capital.
use more than
we heard about their capital needs, so.
Yeah.
How is it that the oil is down?
It's just based on the price and
okay.
usage, right?
Okay.
And there is some rental revenue, right, Tony?
Yeah, the rental revenue goes to the Historical Society.
Oh, right.
And then I believe they in turn use that rental revenue to pay us for this.
That's the caretaker
It's sort of
we're
a,
talking
about.
right, right.
Okay.
And the farm.
All right, I don't think there's anything on that, right? Debt service? I think it's
Debt
pretty
service, yeah.
self-explanatory.
Yeah, there's just one item I want to bring to your attention. So most of this, as you know, is we have no choice, except for the right in the middle of the page. and that's the Public Works Facility Interest. It's 83,688. That assumes that we have substantial completion in July, and then we would then roll the notes to bonds, and then 6 months later you pay an interest payment, which would be in January, which is what this is, and then the following 6 months would be a principal and interest payment, which would be the following July. But that all depends on how the project goes. You know, we want to get the project far enough along where we don't borrow too much money.
Yeah.
You know, so we want to, and our notes currently are mature in July. So, around June, we'll sort of take an estimate of where we are here. And
When do you have to bond it, time-wise?
you don't you can roll notes for up to 10 years.
Right.
You just,
And of course, notes are a lot lower interest.
they're lower, but they float. So if the market, fluctuates, you're subject to it. Whereas when you lock in bonds, that's it, you're fixed.
But
So
once-
that's the risk.
But to,
So if you want to push it out 6 months or whatever,
right, that's
you
what I'm
risk.
thinking. You can,
You can risk
try,
that.
if we wanted to try and get this budget down, that's an area we could.
You could.
We should
We have
issue-
some flexibility there.
Right.
You make
Issue notes and.
Yeah, you make certain moves, you pay a little more in interest,
Yeah.
maybe in the long term, but in the
Yeah.
short term, it helps your budget.
And then maybe some of these other things will come off.
What we'll do is I'll work with our financial advisor, and we'll put a couple scenarios together for you.
Yeah.
And maybe by the time you review the budgets in March, yeah.
Okay.
We can have some scenarios available, and you'll see how much extra interest it'll cost, but then how does that benefit you in the short term?
Is there a target? Have they indicated when they're hoping to be substantially complete?
They said when they started the construction that it was gonna be the following June, but I'm not sure. I mean, they're not really behind schedule, but I'm not sure that still is holding.
Okay.
Should be around there, somewhere in the summer.
They'd be the first project to finish on time I've ever done, so
Right.
pushing this off may not be a bad
I'll
thing.
say, compared to some others, it's like.
This recent weather, maybe.
These guys are good.
It's
They're
Yeah,
really-
Yeah,
it's been
weather's
great
not
so far. The weather's not helping them right now.
But pushing this off certainly may not be a bad thing.
Yeah,
Great.
The rates are pretty low at the moment, so we maybe get lucky.
Great.
And last but not least, best department in the entire town, the Woodbridge Board of Finance. Of course, the only thing in there that matters is this contingency. Where are we here? 1710, that's not.
No, 1170, actually.
It's 1170.
That's what it is.
Board of Finance, okay.
Thank you, Sandy.
And,
So I left
Again,
contingency the same, as you
yeah,
can see.
yeah. And again, people who say, what we do is, of course, those of us who've been around, we all know that, but if as we get close to the end of the fiscal year in June, if there's money left in our contingency plan, we take that money and we fund projects out of the following year's budget to lower the following year's budget. So it's never, we try and be, I think we do a pretty good job of frugality with the contingency fund, and that leaves us money usually at the end of the year to offset the following year's budget, so.
It's been a very reasonable
Yeah,
amount for a long
right.
time.
Yes.
Can I just ask one other question?
Yeah.
How often do we bid out our auditing services and our healthcare contracting services?
So auditing services is actually due this year.
Right.
So we bid it
Okay.
out 4 years ago.
Okay.
And then we bid it out, 4-year contracts usually is enough, is the time you want enough to take care of getting a reasonable price. Anything shorter than that, you might, with a newer firm especially.
Sure.
They don't have enough time to learn everything.
Oh, that's fine.
So we'll bid that out this year and we'll see what happens.
I also think, I'm finding that most accounting firms, the big ones, have gotten out of the audit,
They have.
the municipal auditing, but they're starting to come back.
Oh, is that right?
Well, Bloom Shapiro is
Right,
back
right.
into it. For a while there, Bloom
Right.
Shapiro wanted nothing to do with it.
Right, right.
So I think you might get, and the outfit that does Amity has never bid on ours, and they're really good.
Yeah, last time we bid it out, we received like 3 responses and.
Yeah, one was from a guy who was like a
Right.
sole proproprietor.
Right,
but
right.
Couldn't possibly do it, but
Right, right.
I think you'll get some response this time, so.
Good, that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the healthcare?
We haven't bid that for several years.
So is that something we
We
should
could
maybe
certainly-
consider doing?
we could,
I think.
certainly.
Because the landscape is changing continually.
Mhm.
And I think that we owe it to ourselves to see what else is potentially out there.
We could.
I think that's the next one.
Will you sign up for Obamacare?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we gotta get going. We gotta see the speech.
Yeah.
State of the Union. Okay, that's it, I guess.
Yeah.
So our final meeting will be Thursday. Not too much, except for with the Board of Ed. And will you have revenue by then, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, we'll certainly go through it.
Did we get grand list yet?
Yeah, we'll have the grand list by
Okay.
then.
Yeah.
And we won't have the state revenue, but we should have some of the other revenues.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.